Alright, you're good.
Hi everybody, this is Tyler Baker, the soon-to-be pastor of Valiant Baptist Church, which is going to be located in Jacksonville, Florida. You know, our first services are going to be on March 25th, coming up real soon this year. Pastor Anderson and I have been corresponding back and forth over YouTube, obviously publicly, just going back and forth, and the guy has been just attacking me, false accusations, lies, just one thing after another, and I've been responding and just showing the guy to be a total liar out of his own mouth. He's just, like I've said many times, he's inconsistent. He's just like contradicting himself all the time, lying here, lying there. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious. Now, his worst false accusation or slander towards me is one of the videos that he came out with, and he says it's hard evidence that Tyler Baker was stealing from our church. Hard evidence. Now, let me explain to you what his evidence is in the video, and I'm actually going to include the video, his video, in the description of this video. So if you go down in the description, I'll remember to put the link in there. You can go watch it, see everything. So his main proof that I stole from the church is, number one, that I wrote myself a reimbursement check for a printer. Not only that, right the very next week that all that occurred, that I wrote the check, because I believe the check was written on the 14th. It was for $539.19. The next week I made a video after all of that happened, on the 22nd, I believe, of June. And in the video, you know, he brings up how I'm in my video and I say, I don't have a printer, you know, I wasn't able to print this off. And he's like, why didn't he have a printer if he reimbursed himself for, you know, for a printer? You know, he must have just taken it back and kept the money. The guy, it's total speculation. It just shows that the guy is not looking at facts. He's not inquiring diligently. He never reached out to me and saw what I could provide to show the proof. And now this video should make a huge impact because I have all the records. I have the transaction details from my bank account. I have the transaction details from where I ordered it on Staples. I'm going to show all of that. I have the delivery location. I have everything. I can show how what came out of my bank account, and I'm going to explain the process and everything that took place. But I want you to understand how serious this is and where this has gone and how he's just willing, just on no evidence, he's trying to find anything, you know, just to be able to twist and lie about, and how far that this would go, that he would literally, like, one of the worst things that you could possibly do, steal from a church. He would literally just take anything, throw it out there, it's unfounded, without even looking into it at all. It's just wicked. It's super wicked. And I'm going to just show, like, what a liar the guy is. Now, one of the things first before, I have Brother Elliot here, who's the ringleader of all of this. He's recording the video right now. And I need my hands in just a moment because I'm going to be showing you all of everything on here. I'm going to show you my bank card, actually physically in just a moment. Everything. But one last thing before I get to that. Pastor Anderson made a statement, or he talked about this in his video, where he said that he never authorized a printer. Now, that's a lie. Whether Pastor Anderson remembers that or not, that's a lie. Pastor Anderson knows that we had multiple conversations about how he was going to, liberally supply everything that the church needed. Like, they were going to pay for everything. And he actually said that one time to me. And I'm going to get into that conversation just 1 second here. These are all the things that Pastor Anderson was going to pay for the church. Let me give you a rundown of that. All the chairs for the church. Now, mind you, the church was going to have like 80, 90 people, possibly, maybe even 100 in the beginning on like Sunday mornings. Possibly around that many, at least 70, 75 at least. So the chairs. He was going to pay for the, he was going to buy a camera. He was going to purchase all of the hymnals. He was going to pay the first month's rent for the lease, the original, security deposit, first month's lease, last month's lease. And then I want to get to this. He was going to buy the microphone, and it's a Sennheiser microphone and a printer. And the conversation, he told me that he was going to purchase the printer was the same conversation about the microphone. I had been saving up money because I had planned on, having to buy a lot of things for the church. I didn't know that he was going to literally try to pay for everything. And this is the conversation where he told me that about a week to 2 weeks, I believe, before I actually purchased the printer. So, I was getting ready. I was thinking about purchasing the microphone, and I didn't really know what he knows a lot about audio and visual stuff. He'd been running all the stuff for the church, wired everything in the church. And he had been upgrading it. He's very, knowledgeable about that. So I knew hardly anything about it. I started looking up some of the microphones, and I was going to go ahead and purchase a Sennheiser microphone. And I started seeing there's multiple models. I don't know a lot about it. So I went into his office and I asked him, hey, Pastor, I've been saving up money and stuff. to purchase a few things for the church, and I wanted to go ahead and pull the trigger on it because I was explaining to him how things are, and a lot of people can probably relate to that. It's easier to save up money again. Like if you're saving up for a couple of items and you have a certain amount of money in your account, it's good, if you go ahead and purchase all of those items. It'll give you a goal to start saving up money again and purchase more items. So I wanted to go ahead and do that. I didn't want the account to get to a certain part. And he said, I understand what you're saying exactly. And we talked about that. And he said to me, you don't need to purchase that. We're going to buy everything. He was very clear. And I told him in that conversation, when I was talking about the microphone, and then him and I went and looked and stuff about the microphone, but I said I was going to purchase the microphone and the printer. Now here's the thing. To act like it's that crazy that you're going to buy the printer when you're going to buy the microphone, the camera, everything else is just stupid. What is just the printer? And obviously, I would have had no problem with purchasing the printer in the first place. Jessica and I were saving up money for a long time because I thought that I was going to have to purchase a few things for the church. I understood that. I thought, I didn't know how great it was going to be when I moved to Faith Ford. I thought I was just going to start a church just like how he did, pay for everything. I had no idea how, generous and liberal he was going to be about all of this when he was going to send me out. Obviously that changed. But so he said, go ahead and purchase the printer, or purchase the microphone, purchase the printer. He said go ahead and do it. He's going to supply everything. So, I don't remember exactly. It could have been 2 weeks, might have been the week before. I went ahead and I sat down to purchase the printer because I didn't purchase the microphone because he said that he was going to find it and we might be able to find one that was a local electronics shop where he got his. And we were going to go maybe look in there or something. So, that was going to be with him and I together. We were going to go do that. So obviously the printer I was going to purchase on my own. And that's where I'm going to get to everything on the computer. I'm going to go ahead and transition this video. And I would just want to show all the proof. I don't want to make this video extremely long. So I'm going to try to make it concise, but I do want to be detailed. So the format will be slightly different. I have some, stuff here that I wrote down, just things that I want to kind of, you'll notice that I'm checking things off because I want to make sure this is obviously the seriousness of this. That I just handle everything. Everything's clear. I cover every little, detail about it. And I'm going to show you that it couldn't be more obvious what took place in this situation. I'm going to show you all of the actual evidence. So, the very first thing that I'm going to show you is, let me go back because I want to log out. So I'm in my account right now, but I'm going to go my account, sign out. I'm going to sign into my Staples account, staples.com, okay? You know, your store, Cincinnati, Ohio, because that's where I'm located right here. Right? I'm going to go to my account. I'm going to sign in. Right? Now notice it pops up valiantbaptist@gmail.com. This is not personal. This was for the church. I created this to order things for the church. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign in. Let me get this over here, Brother Elliot. Move things around a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in now. We're good. We're on the front page. I'm going to go to my account. I'm going to go down to my orders. My orders. Okay? It's going to pop up here. There's been no purchases, no orders found that match that time period, last 3 months. I'm going to go to 9 months so that it will populate the ones that I actually purchased. Now you'll notice quickly here that there are 2 purchases. One on 6/14/17 and another on 6/14/17 that are identical, both of them. Let's go to the very first one. I want to point this out. Order status. Look at that. Canceled. Okay? Different order number than this one up here. Look at this order status. Order date, and look at the price. $5.99.18, as if it went through. Order status, now watch this. Partially shipped. So this was not a canceled order. It does not say that it was canceled. It's very clear. I canceled this one. And I'm going to explain to you why now. I'm going to go into the order details here. Okay? Here are the order details. There's 2 items here. Items not available. This is what it looks like when you cancel this. This particular item. Item not available. This is what this one looks like when this one is canceled. Quantity. It doesn't show you the price. And you saw that it was $0. Look over here. $0. Now I want you to look very closely at this. Visa ending in 4077. Now I have that right here. This is my personal banking card. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you this because this is going to be relevant in just a moment. I had at this time, and I still have, 6 banking cards. This is one of them. 6 cards. Let me explain that. 6 cards. So this is one of them. Notice it ends in 4077, and this is Arizona Federal. 4077. Very clear. I'm going to set this back down here, and I may bring that back up in a moment. So, my 6 cards were this. I had, right when I moved to Arizona, I had to change my my banking institution, because who I banked with in Cincinnati was not located in that area, so I went ahead and got Chase. I got the Chase account. So that was my primary account, that I used. I obviously ended up acquiring a debit card for the Faithful Word Baptist Church, which would be a business debit card. I acquired over time a second bank account. The reason that I did this is because I have a loan through Arizona Federal and still do to this day on my van. And like a lot of banking institutions, they require you to have a checking account, and they actually withdraw my loan money out each month. So we just put in there, what's, at this point we just put in there, we were using it, and this was actually the savings that we were using at that time. But they just put in there, we just right now put in there what we need to take out for the loan. Now, I also had a Valiant Baptist card, and then I had 2 credit cards. So I had 6 cards. And the reason why this got purchased on 4077 is because I made a mistake. I accidentally ordered it on a personal card. It was an accident. Now, if you say, well, that's absolutely ridiculous, then you obviously haven't worked for a business before when they give you a debit card. Pastor Anderson has done this numerous times. I know he does it on PayPal. He did it very often on PayPal, where he would order with his personal PayPal on accident and he would reimburse himself. He did that quite a few times. He's done it with the debit card. That's very common. If you talk to anybody that uses that, I've worked for companies, and multiple times I've done this. I've worked for companies where they'll give you a gas card. You have a company vehicle and a gas card. I don't know how many times that I've accidentally used my personal card to get gas, because you're so used to using that, and I was using different cards each time I'm purchasing things, and I would use my personal card sometimes to get gas on accident in my work vehicle when I should have been using my work gas card. And then I would just go in and then they would just reimburse you. It's very simple. It's very easy. That's why you write reimbursement in there, so it can be tracked and you know exactly what took place. And everything can be proven. So you can see right here what took place. 0. I canceled this. So after this, when this happened, when I accidentally just, took $600 out of my account, I about crapped myself. So I pulled, the way that I canceled it was I called in. And when I called in, I hit back, so I'm gonna go back to my account again, my orders, just so Brother Elliot's coming in just to make sure everybody can see everything. You'll notice this looks exactly the same as before. Last 9 months again. Okay? I called in and I spoke to a lady and I explained to her specifically what I wanted to do here. And now this is gonna get, this is where it's gonna start making a lot more sense. If you'll notice, the total amount up here says $599.18, as if everything was paid for, right? But then it tells you that it's partially shipped. Okay? Well, I'm going to go into why right now. If you go into the order details right here, I'll be able to explain that. So I called in and I explained to the woman what I wanted to do. I was purchasing the printer, of course, from Faith Forward Baptist Church, because Pastor Anderson had authorized that. He said that he would pay for the microphone and the printer specifically in a conversation, and he always told me that they would pay for everything. And he said that, and he even told me multiple times that they want to do this for every guy that they send out from now on. Now, if you say, oh man, this is super expensive, why are you just buying a printer like this on the church's dime? Well, number one, let me tell you that if you notice that, I was being frugal with the money. I picked a printer that was $500 off. How often can you find a deal like that? Yeah, I'm just trying to buy the best printer that they had. $500, half off when it's $1,000. The church, and here's the thing, when you're printing tons of bulletins, when you're printing tons of soul winning maps, when you're just printing tons of material constantly, and I was going to start off working for the church. Hey, this is another thing I wanted to bring up too, I almost forgot about. Another thing is, you'll notice I have a Mac right here. Well, I bought this Mac because this is the exact type of computer, like exactly the same amount of memory, everything, as the computer that I used at the church. And I like the computer that I used at the church a lot. Now, I never used Mac until I was always using Windows my whole life, until I started working at Faith Forward Baptist Church and Pastor Anderson used Mac, and I realized that I like Mac better. That may offend a lot of people, but I then liked Apple much better. I think it's more user-friendly. And so I went out and I bought this for a personal computer because we had a laptop that died, so we needed a computer at home. And I bought this, and but let me tell you this is what I'm getting into. This exact computer that I have was the same type of computer that I used at work. Another thing that Pastor Anderson was going to do was he told me literally like the week before I left that he was going to allow me to take my work computer with me. He was going to allow me to take the work computer that I had been using the whole time, and he was just going to buy a fresh new, and he likes to call computers machines. He was going to buy a fresh new machine for Brother Segura, which he did buy that fresh new machine for Brother Segura. You know, and I was just going to take this with me. Now, it may have been longer than a week before that. I don't remember exactly how long it was. But he told me that. He said that I could take that computer with me. And another thing that people have been saying like crazy, you know, trying to accuse me of being lazy because I wanted to work for the church in the very beginning. Pastor Anderson is the one that suggested that to me in the very beginning. And I agree with Pastor Anderson, of course, but I'm probably lazy because of that. I wanted to invest all my time in the very beginning in the church. I wanted to start working full time for the church right away if it was possible. I mean, I was moving there for the church and starting the church. Of course, I wanted to focus all my time on the church if that was possible. So he was going to allow me. Now, you think he's going to let me take my computer, give me all those other things, but the printer, now that's a real big, situation. You really can't purchase that printer. When he's gonna buy the camera, all of that other stuff, it just makes zero sense. Now, when I purchased this, when I purchased no. I want to make this very, very clear, everything that's going on. So I called in to Staples, and I wanted to explain to them what I wanted to do. The reason why I called in was because I wanted to pay for down here, Brother Elliot, I wanted to pay for the printer on the church card, and I wanted to pay for the 3-year protection plan on my personal card. I didn't want to take advantage of the church. I don't want to, I'm getting a 3-year protection plan. That's another thing that I got from Pastor Anderson. I used to never do that. But he's big on getting protection plans and stuff like that. And I started seeing, when we had Brother Garrett's computer go down one time, the importance of having something like that. And that's why I got the protection plan. We're going to be using it. It's a $1,000 printer, half off. It's pretty important that I have some sort of protection plan, and I don't want to take advantage of the church. And Pastor Anderson can testify to this as well, that this is not the first time that I had done things like this. When we were doing Faithful Word Baptist Church North, it was clear that was a part of my duties of the church. But for like the first 6 months of the church, I didn't pay myself for any of the time when I work. And this can be proven on my timesheets. If you want to go to my timesheets and show, the first 6 months, I believe it was, I didn't pay myself at all for the Sunday mornings when I went out to Faithful Baptist Church North. And Pastor Anderson and I had a conversation about that. He brought that up to me, and he said, you know, are you not doing that? You just kind of feel like it's your own personal ministry? Is that why? So he was asking, implying that I could. And then we talked about it, and, you know, he said that I could pay myself in that conversation for Faithful Baptist Church North, which was obviously a given because it was a ministry of the church. And because I'm so lazy, you know, I selected the early, you know, time, and I allotted everybody's time, and I wanted to have the 8 o'clock time so that I had my whole day, because I don't want to get up early, I guess. And these bags under my eyes because I hardly ever sleep, by the way. And, but FWBC North, I didn't pay myself for the first 6 months, and the reason I started paying myself was because we were saving up money, because I thought I was going to be purchasing a lot of stuff for Valiant. And I started paying myself for the, you know, all the time that I could so that we could put money away, because I was gonna buy things. Just like I bought this. So when I called in and I tried to explain to her what I wanted to do, you know, she explained to me that I could not purchase these separately. I don't know if it's a protection. I don't know why. I don't remember why. Maybe she told me, maybe she didn't. But that this was the protection plan for, you know, the protection plan maybe has to be on the same receipt with this. You just can't buy it separately. I have no idea, but she said that she couldn't do that. Maybe because it was existing or whatever else. I have no idea. But I couldn't do that, so she said that I had to purchase it on the card. Or I had to purchase it on one card. So rather than purchasing it all on just FWBC's card, I just went ahead again and purchased it on my own card. Now you'll notice over here, $64.19. Now, if you do the math here, you'll notice and here in just a moment, when I show you the deposit of the reimbursement check of the $539, this makes up the difference. I think I was 80 cents short, and it wasn't 80 cents more. It was 80 cents less. I shorted myself, actually, 80 cents on accident. I don't know if I made that mistake because of the taxes or what I did. But you'll see, $64.19 is what purchased here. Now, go down here real quick, Brother Elliot. For whatever reason, this did not go through. I have no idea why, but you know what it tells you here? It was never canceled. For some reason, it just kept processing. We saw what the other one looked like when it gets canceled. I put in an address here. 7852 DeVoe Street, Jacksonville, Florida. This is Graham Arpin's address. He was one of the men that I was in contact with that I was going to be going to the church. That was going to be going to our church. And by the way, Graham, that picture that was taken, we were watching fireworks in that picture. That's why we're standing. Like, when you stand for a long period of time, sometimes people will cross their arms because you get tired. Now, if you see the expected delivery date, I can't remember if I explained this or not already, but June 15th, 2017. The reason why it says that it's going to be delivered one day after, and I ordered it from Phoenix, is because I had to go up here and change it to Jacksonville, Florida, my store, because when it just automatically populates. So in Arizona, it would have populated for my closest store in Tempe, Arizona. Okay, so I even went in here and I changed it to Jacksonville, Florida, so that it would be delivered here. I spoke to Graham about this multiple times, about, this printer being delivered to him. I don't know how many times, but we spoke a couple of times, 3 or 4 times at least about this. We talked about even him going in and maybe picking it up instead of it being shipped. The expected delivery date, like I said, June 15th, that's why it's the next day. Notice that it still has a total down here, because it was never canceled. I have no idea why this didn't go through, but it says processing very plainly. It does not say canceled because I never canceled it. I needed a printer. That would have made 0 sense. I had to have a printer. I would have purchased the printer then. I would have just bought the printer. It makes 0 sense. The whole side, And obviously, here's the proof. Now, let's go back, and I'm going to show you in the first one as well. It has the exact same address. I intended on this being delivered all along. Let's go back. It's my county. Well, we'll just hit back. Sorry. We're just going to hit back here. It's going to take us back 1 page. It doesn't allow you to... I don't know what... Oh, there we go. It's just taking a minute to load. Last 9 months again. Like I said, I'm going to go back and look at that first one again. I want to show you again. $0. $599.18. Okay? Here's the very first one. Canceled. Partially shipped. Partially shipped. It was never canceled. I don't know if it's because this went through. Notice that said available. I never got my money back for that. And I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to explain to you the dates and everything that took place at this time. Now, if you go in here to the order details on this first one, you'll notice it doesn't have any money here. It just says canceled. And this one says items not available. It's $0, but look at the delivery date also on this one. Same, oh no, I'm sorry, delivery location. Items for delivery. It's under Valiant Baptist Church. All the information is as clear as can possibly be. Now let's go back again. I'm going to show you one other thing. Let me make sure real quick. I'm going to go through some of this stuff. I think I mentioned, how expensive the printer was for, I can't remember if I did or not, that Faithful Word used, but the printer that Faithful Word used, because you're printing, you need a commercial printer, and the printer that Faithful Word used was like over $2,000. I think it was like $2,100 or something. And it's a super expensive printer. So the one I was getting was not top of the line. I found one that was $500 off. $500 off. I was not trying to waste the church's money. I was being a good steward, and this is important, this is an important thing to keep in mind of why it's important to be faithful at your job. Because you can always go back. You can always prove that you're not the one that's lying. That you cared, for the work that you did at your church, that you were careful in the things that you were doing, and that you were a good steward. Because, if I would have been being sloppy at my job, I wouldn't be able to do things like this. The other thing that I was talking about, I'm getting all over the place. Let me, kind of center in on one point at a time. The printer that people keep talking about, $539 for a printer, they obviously don't understand that this was a commercial printer. We're going to be printing mass amounts of things. And I actually spoke to multiple people that I was going to be purchasing the printer, and I told all these people, that Pastor Anderson was willing to purchase it. Graham is one of them. I let him know. Pastor Anderson, Faithful Word, they're supplying everything. I told him that numerous times. We talked about that, and I talked about how generous he was. I was very, super thankful for, all the good that he did to me until he turned on me, obviously. Now all of a sudden, because he did all that good, I should just overlook all of this. He should be able to do whatever he wants to me because he treated me well for a period of time, I guess. But another person I spoke to about it was Jake Strickland. And the reason I spoke to Jake Strickland was because he had talked to me about his printer. We actually used his printer at the Jacksonville Soul Winning Marathon. I stayed with him, and when I stayed with him, we used his printer for his business. He owns a business, and he was telling me about, he offered that, to use that. He was telling me about how he has a deal with the manufacturer where the cartridges are very cheap to just keep getting them. And I was explaining to him how much, ink we go through at Faithful Baptist Church, and that might be worth it. So I called him up and was talking to him about what he had, and I told him I was getting ready to buy the printer and everything, explained the whole situation to him. So there's numerous people that I told. How dumb do you think I'd have to be if I'm going to try to, pull some reimbursement scam, and I'm going around and telling everybody, hey, Pastor Anderson's buying me a printer. It's ridiculous. None of this stuff makes sense. And that's, why it's important, again, to be faithful. Because if you're not faithful, if you're lying about things, people that have the truth can very clearly prove that you're a liar about stuff. So like I said, I told Graham about the printer before I purchased it, and after I purchased it, I spoke to him about it numerous times. And real quick, this is super, super important that I need to touch on this. I want to let you know the exact dates, and the timing of all of this is extremely important. Very, very important. So, on the 14th, you would have noticed was when that was purchased. If you need to go back, look in the video. On the 14th is when that was purchased. Both of them back to back. And that's the date of the check as well. So it all makes sense. Once I realized how I was going to do it, I just wrote the reimbursement check not for the protection plan. I was going to pay for that just for the printer. It was on the 14th. Well, that was a Wednesday, I believe, of the week before that all this happened, where I was fired. It was the Wednesday before. My wife was in active labor, at this time. She was in labor, maybe not active labor, but she was in, labor. She was going in and out of labor. I ended up writing I worked, the rest of the day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I believe. Saturday, I went in and wrote my sermon for FWBC North, and then I ended up not even going in because I think it was because my wife was in labor. I mean, that makes pretty good sense. She went into hard labor starting like Saturday night and stayed in hard labor. My son, Jonathan Asa, was born on the 19th, the exact same day that Pastor Anderson fired me. He was born on the 19th. Now, I don't know if you guys understand the drastic, the seriousness of everything and how dramatic it was when I was fired, how this just took me, completely off guard. I had no clue. It just turned my entire life upside down. I just had a child. I lost my job. I moved out to Phoenix, Arizona to start a church. Now he's not sending me out. Over the course of this week, everyone that was gonna go to my church just bought into all the lies that he said, and they all turned on me. Everyone at the church turned on me. They're just railing on me, just saying all kinds of horrible things. And then there's just, obviously only a few people that understood the truth of everything that was going on. I was barely eating. I was never sleeping. I was on the phone constantly every day. The last thing that's on my mind, is this printer. That's the last thing that I'm thinking about. Now, I spoke to Graham a few different times over the course of the next 3 weeks or so. And as everyone knows, I eventually moved back to Cincinnati and was just recently ordained. And I talked to him a couple of times while still in Arizona, and I can't remember how many times the printer came up, but at least one time the printer came up. And I told him that, I thought that Pastor Anderson, because he kept telling me, it hasn't come. And I thought, it should have come. It's just being delivered just from Jacksonville by that point. And I told him, I thought that Pastor Anderson had canceled it. Because he was getting into accounts and doing all kinds of stuff. He got onto the ValiantBaptist.org. That's because he got into my account and I had all these passwords saved. He was obviously going through the history, all kinds of stuff. I said maybe he canceled it. And, I was wrong about that because it never got canceled. It's still processing to this day for whatever reason. So I thought that he might have canceled it, but I also told Graham this very clearly. Let me say this. I spoke to him a few times, and the last conversation that I had to Graham is when I told him what I was getting ready to say, was when I was actually driving back. I was returning back to Cincinnati. And I was talking to Graham about everything that was going on, and he was expressing some grievances, and I apologized to him about certain things, that I felt like I had done wrong during this, and everything. Nobody's perfect, and I'm not trying to act like I'm perfect in this situation, and I didn't have any types of flaws, but what's being portrayed is a total and absolute lie. You can find character flaws, you can find problems with any person if you look hard enough, and especially if you put somebody under the microscope and everybody's telling you that they're a devil. You might just go back and find a reimbursement check and say they stole stuff from the church. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff to people. You can nitpick. Like Jonathan Shelley's video was ridiculous, just nitpicking about the most stupid stuff, and some of it, was half-truths, some of it was just maybe character flaws that I had, just ridiculous. But, I explained to him, I was sorry about, in the ways that I felt that I dealt with things, but we talked about the printer, and I told him in that conversation, maybe Pastor Anderson canceled it, but if it ever comes Just talk to Pastor Anderson about it and see what he wants to do with it. Whether you guys want to use it for steadfast jacks, or whether, he wants to get his money back, I assume. I said just talk to him about it. And you can find out what he wants to do about it. Now, so I paid for the protection plan, right? I'm going to show you in a minute I was never reimbursed for the protection plan. Let me go ahead and actually show you that now. So I printed off here my statement of my account here. If you look, Arizona Federal, this is offline. If you want to go on there and find out this is the format, and I didn't print this up, I obviously redacted a lot of stuff of my personal information out of this. You can see our names there, right? You can see the date. Let's go in on the date pretty close. Okay? Arizona Federal, right? Look at the card. Arizona Federal. Okay? You saw, I don't even need this, number one, but you saw that it was purchased on 4077 card. That card out of Arizona Federal. And if you look right here, you'll see 6419. Staples debit card. Right above that, you'll see a deposit. If you add those two numbers up, it comes, my math bought a bit off a little bit because of the taxes or whatever, but if you do it, I believe I shorted myself $80. My math could be wrong too right now. 80 cents is what I meant. Sorry about that. Thank you, Brother Elliot. That 80 cents, I shorted myself 80 cents. So, it's clear. It's obvious what took place. Now, let me explain a couple of things about this also here towards the end. Let me check a couple of stuff off. I want to look at it real fast. Now, the fact that I never got my money back, that I never called into Staples and got my money back, the 6419 just shows that this was the last thing on my mind. I hadn't thought about this at all, and I knew that I wasn't doing anything dishonest. So I hadn't thought about this at all. It didn't even cross my mind. I didn't talk to Graham again. That was the last conversation I had with Graham. And I sent him a text right after that and gave, what I considered and thought that was going to be our last farewell. And I sent him that text, and I didn't talk to him at all. So I never found out whether they received the printer or not in the first place. But that printer was the last thing on my mind. I wasn't working for the church. Now, if I would have been still working for the church, and I would have been keeping in contact with Graham, I would have called Staples, and I would have figured out what's going on, because I would have needed the printer. I would have needed a printer either way. If I'm printing off the amount of stuff that I'm printing, I would have either purchased it myself, which that's not what I was going to do, because Pastor said he was going to purchase it. I'm just saying hypothetically. Or I would have, what I really would have done was contacted them and made sure that it went through. And I had already technically, purchased it through them and paid myself back. Now, like I showed you that right there. And, I just wanted to make a last couple of statements here. Let me show you this too. I just want to give you every single bit of evidence. So this is, no, I'm going to show you that in a minute. We'll come back to this. So this is just my personal stuff. So I got, this is Safari as my web browser. I got another web browser with my other email over here, Firefox. And let's go back. So I created a folder here so you guys aren't able to look at every single thing in my inbox, and I dropped, these things in there. You'll notice the dates, 6/14/17, 6/14/17, 6/14/17. I just want to be as thorough as possible. Confirmation of Staples orders. You'll go through, and if you see that 4/1, that's the first one that I ordered. That's the next one that that's when that one was canceled. 4/1, 4/1. You can tell by the last two digits there. And then this was the last one. Now, the first one is the confirmation. You can compare this, go back and forth in the video. People that are actually seeking the truth and want to see that I'm telling the truth. You'll notice that I paid for this. It came out of my account, but I also, ended up canceling it. Why would I bought it twice if I'm just trying to do something? None of that makes sense. That's stupid. And I'm going to go back again. Let me go back to the folder. Here's the second one where I called in and we ended up canceling it. Canceled items. It shows you that it was canceled, right? Go back again. And then here is the final one. I want you to notice it says the same thing as the first one, but it was never canceled, and you can see that. That's verified, not on here. But if you go back, like I showed you in the video, on the Staples website, it tells you it's still processing. So notice that this lines up. This says canceled. Notice that and this one, I don't have an email for it saying it's canceled here, and that lines up with the other one too, processing. All of it makes sense. There's too much evidence. It's just ridiculous. It makes zero sense. This is what basically would have happened. So if the printer would have shipped, you know what the situation would have been? I would have, Steadfast Jacksonville would have had a printer that Faith 4 Baptist Church purchased for them, and I would have bought them a protection plan. That's one option. And then the other option is this. Yeah, the printer obviously never ended up shipping in this case. Well, let's say this. Let's say, that the other option would have been if all of this wouldn't have happened, I would have went down there and I would have got the printer for myself. Through Staples, I would have got the printer, as far as like reaching back out to Staples, like I had said before, I worded that wrong. Not for myself. I would have, I meant as far as I'm the one doing the actions. I would have been proactive and called Staples up and saw what was going on, because it would have been on my mind. I would have been needing the printer, and I would have kept in contact with Graham. Everything wouldn't have been as hectic as it was. I would have needed the printer. Those are basically the two options. Now, I never thought about this, until Pastor Anderson came out with this video. And when he came out with this video, I immediately, I didn't remember it real well. Obviously, it's very fuzzy in my mind. It was like a blur. So I called my wife up. She actually sent me the text, and I called her up and I said, go get into our accounts and see if we wrote a check back or anything like that. She called me up and she's like, no, we didn't. And I said immediately, we need to get on there and you need to pay the money back. Or you need to, and people keep, oh, you said you paid it back, you donated it back. Yeah, it's because I paid it back through donation. I got on there, and I'm going to show you that I paid it back. And here's the thing. People are just like, I'm going to close this one out. In this situation, they're not interested in the truth. They've got their minds made up, and you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. They have no interest in the truth. I could save one of their kids. Brother Simon said this recently. It was a good statement. I could save one of their kids, and they would say I tried to kill them. It's just so ridiculous. They're like, he stole our money and I give it back, and they're like, he's like Judas. He's just throwing the money back like Judas did. I mean, listen to yourselves. Listen to how crazy you guys are. You make 0 cents, you have zero, and you just buy into this, and tons of people are just willing to just write on there, oh, he embezzled all this money. They know nothing about the truth. They can't see, oh, he's manipulating everyone. He doesn't have any facts at all, period. He's just showing a check that, oh, he reimbursed himself for this check. I never stole a dime from Faithful Word Baptist Church, and I would never steal a dime from any church. I would never steal a dime. I would not go around stealing from people. It's just totally an absolute ridiculousness. I cannot even believe, and like I said earlier, I made the other statement. I'm trying to go through these points and make these, make sure that I don't miss anything. Obviously, like I said, it's very important. But, I'm going to just kind of start closing this thing. These are the facts. These are the facts. This is clear what I did, what was going on. Pastor Anderson is a liar. He is a liar, and I'm gonna make, I want to address two different people. First, I want to address Pastor Anderson. If you have any integrity at all, if you are not, if you supposedly aren't just full of pride and if it's not just about a personal vengeance, then you would know this is the truth. And you would realize, hey, I was out of line. Take your video down then. Not only take your video down, be a man and make a public apology that you lied about me, slandered me, and spoke about me about a serious accusation. One of the most serious accusations that you could make before you even know it. It just shows you have your mind made up and you've already decided I'm an evil, wicked person, but it's obviously not true. I'm an evil, wicked person, and you're going to take anything that I say, anything that I do, any mistake that I made my entire time working for you as a human being, and just try to use it against me. I cannot believe what you have become. You need to just try. I don't know what, you need to repent, obviously, but you need to get right with God. This is, and I want to address everyone that's watching this video. You guys are just, this should show you your blindness. How you were willing to just go along with this and just parrot everything that he said. It's funny that everybody stopped talking about the timesheets, because that was obvious who was lying. It's funny how everybody stopped talking about my work ethic, and even people that are inside are saying, you might be right about that. Tons of people. It's obvious that he's lying about it. It makes no sense. And everybody kept bringing up the printer. So guess what? That's 3 strikes, just all in a row. He's been showed to be a liar. This is the evidence. Wake up. Wake up. It's ridiculous. What you guys have been doing, all of these people leaving comments, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You should be stinking ashamed of yourselves. You should go back and try to find every statement that you made about me and delete it. And you should go back, you should send me a message and publicly apologize to me. You know what you're doing to my family? And what you're doing to my life? It's ridiculous and it's wicked is what it is. And, this can go on, and they want to make videos about, people crying and stuff like that. This movement has become, it really has, just a movement of hate. It really has. It becomes a movement of slander where people are just trying to just kill anybody that they can, cut anybody's throat that they can. They're willing to just throw out accusations. It's wicked. And you know, the truth is going to come out also about what we believe too. Just like the truth came out about all this stuff, about what we believe, that we're not these modalist, oneness, Pentecostal heretics. I'm going to straighten everything out. I'm going to preach about all of it. And like I said, I would rather this go away. And I'm sure Pastor Anderson now would rather this go away. I would rather all of this go away. But I'm not gonna just roll over, and I'm not gonna just allow him to keep doing this to people and lying about people. It's not going to continue. I'm gonna stand up against him until he understands what he's done. And I'm going to stand up for the truths of the Bible. That's what I'm going to do. Now, you need to watch this video 3-4 times. You have any questions, contact me. I have, zero reservations of any sort of scrutiny. Contact me. I'll, talk to you about it. Any questions that you have. This video needs to be shared multiple times. This video needs to be passed around and shared. This needs to make people need to wake up, and something needs to happen. People need to, whatever happens, Pastor Anderson needs to repent if he doesn't, he needs to have consequences for this, whatever it is. In the Bible, there's consequences for people that, falsely accuse people, and they deserve their punishment. So you know what he deserves? He deserves what supposedly what I deserved. That's what needs to happen in this situation. So like I said, contact me, any questions. I can send you this stuff. What's that?
Second person you wanted to address.
Second person, I don't remember. Tell me, it's okay.
I don't know.
Oh, the second person was the crowd. Sorry. It's alright, we're not cutting this either. Cool. So this is all gonna go in here.
Cool.
First person was Pastor Anderson, second person was all the followers. So, brother, I thought that I missed something there, but... So, like I said, in closing, contact me if you have any questions. Contact me. I can send you... this is obviously my outline. I'll send you the documents. I'll try to redact the information. If need be on certain things, I can forward you emails. I can just, show you that these are the true documents. Any questions? I have no. It's $539.19. Let's end with the fact that I gave all the money back. $540 because I wanted to do the right thing. And, not only did I short myself 80 cents before, but I wasn't able to pay cents in this, so I made sure that I didn't pay $539. I paid $540. God bless you and have a good day.